Hello, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another weekly reading vlog. So today is Monday, April 10th, and this week I think I'm gonna be doing something kind of different, but I mean also not because it's still gonna be a weekly reading vlog, but I haven't seen people doing this, like so many people doing this, and I thought it would be fun. And so we are switching my screen time with reading. And I am in almost the middle of the Well of Ascension. I am 46% into it. And I mean, this is definitely gonna be my main focus in the beginning of this week. And then I don't really know what else I'm gonna read. I am still waiting for my friend to be ready to read City of Fallen Angels. So maybe that will happen this week, maybe not. Maybe I will, most likely I will go into the next book in this series as well at some point. And apart from that, I don't really know what the plans are. Maybe I'll get into one of my anticipated releases that has already been released and I haven't read yet. That sounds like a good idea. Also, today I am supposed to be reading. Oh, because I am gonna be like taking out from like the time, I'm gonna be taking out like half of my YouTube time because I feel like it should be like 50-50, the time I spent just like actually on YouTube, looking at it, and the time that I'm just using it as like background music for reading. So I'm gonna take half of it. I'm definitely also gonna take out the time I spent with my camera because I'm, filming, and also definitely going to take out the time of like Scribd because it's where I like read my ebooks or listen to audiobooks. So I'm going to take that time out. And according to my calculations, today I'm supposed to be reading 3 hours and 55 minutes, but I'm going to be out of the house most of the day, like pretty much all day. So if I don't have time to do that, I will switch today's time with tomorrow's time because tomorrow's time is only 2 hours and 29 minutes. So that is very doable. So, I mean, you will know by this time what I will do because I will have put the time thing on screen. So, you already know, but I really don't. But we will see. I will read at least 2 hours and 29 minutes. And yeah, that is it. I am excited, but kind of nervous for this challenge, even though like there isn't that much time in any of the days really. There's just like 2 days where it's a little more, but it's nothing atrocious in any of the days. So I think like I got this, but also like I'm still kind of nervous. But anyway, that is everything for this intro, and welcome to the vlog. Okay, so yesterday I only got home after like 8 p.m. and so I still had to have dinner. And so I decided to do the 2 hours and 29 minutes. I mean, I did like a little over because I wanted to finish the chapter because I can't just stop in the middle of chapters. That is not something I can do. So I read I think it was 2 hours and 32 minutes, and I read part 3 and got, I think, 2 chapters in part 4 of The Well of Ascension, and I am on page 492. And we learned like a lot about the past and like the creation of some creatures. And there was also like something very sad that happened. And I mean, part of it was very expected, but another part of it actually I did not expect, at least. And also there is a character that I really want to trust, but I really think I can't, because he is sketchy, but I don't know if he is sketchy just because he's trying to betray like someone bad, or if he's just trying to betray both the bad and the good people and just look out for himself. And also I am still waiting for like the magical, fantastical part, supernatural, whatever part to happen, because I mean, we are getting obviously a lot of the magic, like the magic with the metals. We are getting a lot of it, and I mean, I love every time they use it, especially for fight scenes. They are always amazing, and I do love that. But there is like a whole other supernatural thing that is going to happen, and I am waiting for it, because we are still focusing mostly like on the politics, which I do like. I'm not saying that I don't like that part. I do like the politics part as well, because I don't like politics like in real world settings, but like in fantasy or science fiction, I do like to learn how all of that happens. And so I am enjoying it, but again, I am still waiting for the more fantastical, magical stuff. And so yeah, I read, like I said, 2 hours and 32 minutes, 166 pages. And so today, Tuesday, I'm going to be reading Monday's time, so 3 hours and 55 minutes. And if I keep the pacing I read yesterday, I could finish this book. But like, I don't know if I want to, because I don't know if I want to end it like so fast. Because I mean, I want to like savor it, you know? So I might like read some of it, at least finish part 4, maybe like a little bit of part 5. But I don't think I will finish it. So I might start another book, maybe one of my anticipated releases that have been released. I think I mentioned that in my intro. I might read one of those. And yeah, I mean, what I read yesterday, like 166 pages, is like pretty average for what I read in a day, I guess. So that was not challenging at all. Today will be the challenge, because reading for 4 hours is not something I usually do. And I mean, I do love reading, obviously, but I can't like focus on one thing for too long. I get bored very easily of like everything, any hobby, anything in life, really. I get bored of things very easily. So if I spend too much time on one thing, I will get bored, and that is the problem here. So not like 4 hours is that much, but for me personally, as someone who is easily bored with stuff, that is a long time. I mean, I am going to manage it anyway, because I am going to be reading for 3 hours and 55 minutes, because I have decided that I will, but we'll see if I get bored or not. I mean, I won't be reading like that whole time, like in one sitting, definitely not, but yeah. Anyway, I will let you know tomorrow what I read. And I mean tomorrow, because I will be reading like at night, because I usually do read mostly at night. So I'm not going to be updating at like 1 a.m. because, you know, my parents will be sleeping. So I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, so I did read my 3 hours and 55, 56, whatever, minutes yesterday, and I read 321 pages, and half of it was in the Well of Ascension, so I got to page 659, and so I have like around 100 pages to go. And honestly, after like the 3 hour mark of reading, I was kind of done. But not that I wasn't enjoying what I was reading, but like I said, I get bored if I do the same thing for too long. So I was kind of done. And I mean, there's not a lot that I can say about these last 100 and whatever pages without spoilers. But I mean, there was like a whole romantic thing that happened that like I wish I cared about, but I just don't. But then there was something else that happened, like some decisions were made, and I am both very excited but also very scared for these last 100 pages of this book. But yeah, still having a lot of fun with it. And then I read 154 pages of The Daughters of Izdihar, and that is 40% of the book. And in this book, we follow two main characters. The first one is called Nehal. Also, I apologize because I am sure I am saying every name wrong, including the title of the book. But I'm trying to say it as close as I think they said it on the audiobook. And so we followed Nehal, and she is a water weaver, and she really wants to go to the academy to learn how to use her powers, but she can't because she would need the permission of her father, and he doesn't want her to go. He instead wants her to marry a man that is called Nico, I think. But Nico is actually in love with another woman who's called Georgina, and she is an earth weaver. And she also doesn't really know how to control her powers, but her powers are actually like very destructive, and so she just tries not to use them. But when she gets like emotional, she can't really control the not using them part. And so after Nehal marries the guy, they make a deal, because now that she's married to him, he can be the one to give her permission to go to the academy. And he does, because they agree on something. And so she enters the academy. And she also ends up meeting Georgina, because Georgina is involved in an organization for women's rights that's called the Daughters of Izdihar. And she actually ends up helping her. And then she gets actually interested in joining the group. And we also see the characters wondering about, like the ones in the academy, we see them wondering about the powers, like how they really came to be, because it's supposed to be like from the powers of their gods, but they don't really know how some people have the powers, because it's not like genetic. It's kind of random, and they're wondering how it works and why some people have one power and why others have other powers. And because there was someone that was thought to have like all the powers. And yeah, like so far I am really enjoying it. I really like both of our main characters, and I am very interested in the story, but not a lot has yet happened. We're just getting to know the characters and the world and their stories. And yeah, I'm liking to learn about all of that. And that is what I read on Tuesday. And so today, Wednesday, I have 3 hours and 41 minutes to read, which is very similar to yesterday, a little less. But I will surely finish The Well of Ascension, and I will probably also finish The Daughters of Izdihar. I'm not sure, but I probably will. And if I do still have time after that, I have no idea what I'm gonna read, but probably something horror. So like if I don't have time today, like then tomorrow I'll definitely read something horror, because I have just been reading fantasy, and I do love fantasy, but also I am craving horror. And yeah, that is it. Oh, also yesterday, as you must have seen, I finally like put my puzzle away, because it has been on the floor of my bedroom for almost 2 weeks. and I was kind of tired of having it there. So I divided into 4 sections and I taped it, and it's in the box now. So yeah, there's not like a huge thing on my floor. And yeah, that is it. I'm gonna get reading because it's already almost 5 p.m. I haven't started reading. My mom will be home in like a couple hours, and then I know that I will, have to help her make dinner and like do things, and I won't be able to read until like, I don't know, 10 p.m. So, I should get started. So I'm gonna get to reading. Okay, so I finished The Well of Ascension, and I was right to be both excited and scared because, there was some amazing action. It was incredible, but at the same time, some very bad things happened that made me sad. So, yeah. And the ending of this book was mind-blowing, incredible. I loved it so much, and I am so excited for book 3. And I gave this one 4.5 stars. And I just finished filming the video for it that will be up before this one. So if you want to check my spoilery thoughts, I will link it in the description. And then I also finished The Daughters of Izahar. And the first thing I want to say is that I said I was trying to say the names like they said it in the audiobook, but as after hearing the names again, I realized that I really wasn't. So not only do I not know how to pronounce things, I also can't listen, apparently. Also, something I forgot to mention, but like I have to, is the fact that the cover of this book is so stunning. And like I'm reading kind of the ebook, but I'm mostly listening to the audiobook, and I'm just looking at the cover, and it is so beautiful. But anyway, I really like that book as well. Nahil and Georgina are absolute icons, and everyone in their lives and almost everyone in their world hates what they're doing, even though the things that they're doing together and the things that they're doing separately, everyone hates it. And I hate everyone else except Nico. Nico is okay, like he's fine, he's a good, decent person. But everyone else, like I want them to kill everyone, basically. And we learned that one of them has like a special kind of magic that is like very, very powerful, but also very dangerous and kind of forbidden. So that's fun. And when they're trying to, make their lives and the lives of women in general better, it just backfires and things kind of get even worse than they were. And like the end of this book, I was just like, oh shit. And for one of the characters, like, oh shit, in a good way, because what happened was like intense but iconic and good. But for the other was so bad. And so like I said, I really like this book. I really like the main characters and like some few other characters. Everyone else, like I want them to die a violent and painful death, but it was really good. I really like the magic system as well, and seeing them, especially one of them, learn how to use it. And I gave this one 4 stars, and I really want the second book. I think it's the second and last. I think it's a duology. I'm not sure though. I want it, but it still doesn't even have a release date or a cover or a title, I think. So that is very sad for me. But the point is, I'm loving everything that I'm reading this week. And I read for like a little longer than the time was supposed to be, I think 10 minutes, because I was like so close to finishing this book. I didn't want to just leave 1 or 2 chapters for today. So I read 3 hours and 53 minutes and 352 pages. And I mean, once again, after like the 3-hour mark, I was like, I'm done with reading. But I guess like it helped that I was, for some parts of the audiobook, I was like just drawing. So I was not just reading, and that definitely helps me not get like bored or distracted, because if I read for a very long time, I get very distracted. I'm reading, even if I'm like physically reading, I'm reading, but like my brain is somewhere else, and then I have to reread what I just read. But if I'm like drawing something, that does not happen as easily. So that definitely helped. And now today is actually a day that I have less to read, which is a very good thing, because today is a much busier day. I only have to read for 2 hours and 31 minutes. And so I am gonna read the horror book I said that I might have started yesterday, but did not have time. So today, and I think I'm gonna read The Trees Grew Because I Bled There, or something like that, by Eric LaRocca. And I have read, I think, 2 books from this author before, and they were both incredibly disturbing, which is what I look for in horror. And I think this is a collection of short stories, and I have the ebook for that, and I am excited because I want to be disturbed, I want to be traumatized. That is what I'm looking for. And I also want to start The Hero of Ages, but I don't know if I'm gonna start it today, so it'll be either today or tomorrow. It's like tomorrow I have to read for like 4 hours and 50 minutes or something, and I'm already feeling exhausted from that. But anyway, let's get into doing what I need to do first, and then let's get into reading some disturbing horror. Hi. So, yesterday I only had the plan to read that one short story collection. That was it. I thought that would take me around 2.5 hours because it was 200 pages, but it was only 1 hour and a half. So, there's that. Also, I did really like it. It was, as usual with that author, disturbing, traumatizing, very weird, and obviously so good. And I mean, I feel like if not all of the short stories, then most of them were in a way like connected to children, and children are in fact terrifying. Like I said, I really liked it. I am not gonna talk about details of any of the stories because they're short stories. It would spoil everything, but yeah, they were disturbing, they were scary, they had children, and they were traumatizing, and I love them. And I gave the book 4 stars. And then I started reading very late because I was busy pretty much the whole day, and it was already past midnight when I still had an hour to go. And I was like, can my brain handle a fantasy book right now? Because I am very tired. But on the other hand, there was nothing else I wanted to start. So I started The Hero of Ages, and I got, I think, 61? Yeah, 61 pages in. And I mean, it was a good decision because I am really liking it. And the beginning of this book was very like intense and explosive, and it definitely like woke me up. And obviously, I don't have a lot to say, especially because like this is the third book in the series, so I'm not gonna spoil the plot, and also because I only read 60 pages. But there is like the main thing is that there is like such a huge different dynamic between two of the main characters. And I mean, it was expected after the end of the second book, but I am not entirely sure that I like it. Like, I like how the character that changed is behaving in general, but like their dynamic, I don't know about it. Yeah, but I mean, the book so far, I'm loving it. And so, yeah, I read for 2 hours and 31 minutes. It was the only day I actually read for the right amount of minutes because I did finish the chapter in like at that point, and I read 269 pages. And so today I am scared because I have 4 hours and 49 minutes to read. 5 hours is a lot. I don't think I've ever read that much in a day, and I'm scared. And I mean, I am gonna read The Hero of Ages, but I am definitely not gonna be reading this book for 5 hours because no matter how much I am loving something, I cannot do like that one thing for 5 hours. That is absolutely 100% impossible for me. So I don't really know what else I'm gonna read, but it will probably be either like thriller or horror. Definitely not fantasy, because my brain cannot handle 5 hours of reading fantasy. So yeah, I am scared. I am worried. I am kind of excited as well. And wish me luck, because I will need it. Hi, so I read 239 pages of The Hero of Ages, and I love that it took me exactly 3 hours to get to part 3. And I mean, everyone's sad in this book, everyone's miserable. And we are actually discovering some new things about the powers, like because one character is having powers that he should not have, like that no one should have. And then we are also like, there's a lot of planning going on, but we've also already had like a battle, and it was a lot. And also there are some very creepy scenes that are happening with another character, and I am really liking this. I am scared of what will happen in this book because I know it will break my heart and I am not ready. And I mean, I'm loving it, but also terrified of it. And then I read 76% of A House with Good Bones, which is a horror book, and it's actually one of my anticipated releases. And in this book, we follow Sam, and she goes back to her mom's house, and everything is different, like the house itself and her mom. And so her mom, like her whole personality seems different, and also she is very jumpy. And in the garden of the house, she finds a jar of teeth, and also there are always vultures circling. And so this was one of my anticipated releases, like I said, because I read 2 books by this author last year and I really loved both of them, but I'm not really liking this one. And I love those other books because they just had such an unsettling, creepy vibe, like the whole book, and I just don't feel this with this one. I don't feel anything with this book. And we already had the reveal of what is happening, like, to the house and to Sam's mom, and I thought it was very obvious from the start, which is not always a problem, but in this particular case, since I'm not feeling creeped out, if the reveal had been cool, then, you know, it would have been something. But I mean, I'm not feeling anything. The reveal wasn't unexpected. So yeah, I'm not really having a lot of fun. Although in the last 2 chapters that I read, something actually interesting happened. So I'm excited to see where that goes, like to finish it. Because yeah, I mean, those 2 chapters were actually interesting. And yeah, that is what I read. It actually wasn't as bad to read almost 5 hours because, you know, for once I didn't start at like 10 p.m. But I mean, it was fun for one day, because would I do it regularly? Absolutely not. And yeah, I read 434 pages. And today it is thankfully a less reading heavy day because I was out the whole day. I just got home and it is 11 p.m. and I still haven't read because, I mean, like I said, like I woke up and left the house and just got back. And I have just 2 hours and 5 minutes. So, I mean, thank God, because I would not be able to read more than that. And so I am planning on finishing the horror book. Hopefully the vibe of those last 2 chapters lasts until the end of the book and, you know, it becomes more interesting. And then I will, like the rest of the time, I will read some of this. Also today I bought 2 books about Portuguese myths and legends. I mean, I was gonna buy one, but then my dad decided to buy me both of them, so I was just like, I'll take it. And yeah, I'm excited to learn because honestly, like, I know really nothing about Portuguese legends. I mean, I know like 1 or 2, but it's 2 whole books, so I mean, there must be many. And yeah, I will leave you with the footage I got today from being outside, and then I will read and get back to you tomorrow. Okay, so I finished A House with Good Bones, and actually, the last third was so much better. I think I said that it was getting better in the last two chapters I had stopped after, and yeah, definitely did continue to get better. I did like that last third. I definitely got the like unsettling, creepy, weird vibes that I wanted, but definitely still my least favorite book by this author. And I mean, I've only read three, but the other two were really, really good. And yeah, I mean, it did get better, but it was still just an okay book for me, so I gave it 3 stars. And then I got to page 428 of The Hero of Ages, and I continue to love it. And I mean, we are learning so much about the powers and the creation of some creatures. And I mean, just learning so much in general about this world and how it works and how a lot of things started happening and what some people need in order to get what they want. And something really kind of bad happened, and I continue to be very excited and very scared to continue this book, but mostly very, very excited. And yeah, that is what I read yesterday. It was the shortest day, it was only 2 hours and 5 minutes, and I read 189 pages. And so today is finally the last day, and I have to read for 4 hours and 14 minutes, which for me personally is a lot. It's not the longest day, but it's up there. And I'm definitely gonna be reading a lot of The Hero of Ages because I am loving it. But as much as I'm loving it, or as much as I'm loving anything, there is nothing that I can read for just 4 hours. So I will be reading something else, but honestly, I have no idea what else I want to read. Because like if it was a normal day, I would just read however much I wanted from this and then be done with reading. But since this is not exactly an option today, I will just find something that is short-ish, hopefully, and I will read that. And we will conclude this challenge. And tomorrow I will let you know how it goes and wrap up this whole vlog. Okay, so we are done with this challenge, and yesterday like I said, I wanted to read The Hero of Ages, but I wanted to read something else, and I was looking at my saved horror ebooks and audiobooks. I saw one that was kind of short, and so I decided to go with that, and that was 1922 by Stephen King, and I haven't read a Stephen King book in so long. I think the last one I read was It, which was probably why I stopped, because I didn't really like it that much. But I thought, why not? And so in this book, we follow a man, and he, like, the start of the book is him writing his confession of something that happened in 1922. And so he owned a farm, and his wife owned the land next to it, but she wanted to sell her land and move to the city. But if she sold her land, he would have to sell as well. And he didn't want to do that, and he also didn't want to move to a city. And he was basically willing to do anything to make sure that he could stay in his land. And this book was so unhinged, and I loved it. And it was also so, like, there were some scenes that were so disgusting, which I also loved. And just like the way that everything escalated and snowballed, it was just wow. And like I saw the sort of reveal at the end coming, but it did not, like, it was not a problem, the fact that I knew, because in a way it made it so much worse. And yeah, I actually love this book. I gave it 4 stars, and you know, maybe I should get back into reading Stephen King books because this was really good. And then I read up to page 638 of The Hero of Ages, and we continue to learn so much and everyone continues to suffer, but at the same time they're all doing like so many like amazing things. They're all being iconic but also suffering at the same time, and it's just a roller coaster of emotion, especially like this part that I read yesterday. It was like I was sad, but then I was happy, but then I was sad again, and it was a lot, but I continue to love it. And I mean, I'm almost done with it, and I am not ready. But yeah, that's it. Yesterday I read for 4 hours and 14 minutes. I read 342 pages, and it was actually easier than I expected. So something fun that happened is that if I add the whole time that I read, it gives me exactly, like to the minute, exactly 24 hours. So I guess we can see that, like how much I read in 24 hours, and I read 2,073 pages, which is a lot, definitely more than I usually read in a week, like double what I read in a week on average. So yeah, it was definitely a lot of reading. I mean, it was still fun. Like, would I do it again? Yes. Would I do it regularly? Definitely not. And the biggest problem I had is that I didn't really have time for my other hobbies. The only thing I could really do was draw while listening to an audiobook, but I like to jump from one hobby to another. I like to do a lot of things in a short period of time, and with this challenge I couldn't really do that. So that was kind of a struggle, but it was fun still. And like I said, I would do it again, just not on a weekly basis. But anyway, that is everything. This is the end of this weekly reading vlog, and I really hope that you have enjoyed it. And if you did, give it a like and subscribe, and I will talk to you next time. Bye!